the dreaded slice with the driver, a disease that has plagued probably every single golfer at some point in their career. And the crazy thing is that it can seem like an absolute impossibility to fix. And no matter how far you keep aiming left to try and combat it, that slice just keeps getting worse and worse. However, I'm here to tell you today that it really isn't that hard to fix as long as you follow the right process to getting rid of the slice. And this video will help any single person with a slice, no matter what way they're doing, no matter what they're doing in their swing. It's going to help anybody fix their slice. Because we're going to be tackling the root issues that cause a slice, such as the setup, the connection of the arms and the backswing, and then the transition. Things like that are really going to help you get rid of that slice no matter where your swing's at. So this will apply to anyone who is slicing the golf ball. So let me show you how to do it. All right, so I truly believe that it's very important for you to understand what a slice is so that you can fix it. Now, when I see people slicing the golf ball, anyone who slices the golf ball, all right, the slice, we describe the ball flight as a ball that starts, for the right-handed golfer, it starts left of the target and it curves from left to right, finishing up right of the target. Let's get into everything. We're going to start with fundamentals, then we're going to go through the swing, and this is truly going to get rid of that slice forever, but it is going to take a little bit of work, and that's something you got to be prepared for. And it's going to feel weird, a lot of these things, but that's what it takes to remove that slice once and for all. Now, what I see most people doing when they try and fix their slice is they know that they're over the top, and they know that they're swinging across the golf ball with an open club face. So what they start to do is to try and feel things like this, really trying to shallow the club with the arms, trying to get it into this position. This is a very hard position to hit the golf ball from because you still have to move your body in all kind of weird ways to be able to get rid of that slice, or even just to hit the ball consistently. Okay, and again, what we're doing when we try all this is we are incorporating the arms to be the leading part of the golf swing, and that is not what we want. We want the body and the arms to work together, and we want the shallow of the club to happen naturally with the body movement, okay? So, as well, the other thing about that is if we've got people who are slicing it, we obviously know that the ball comes across and the club face is open. What people need to understand is that if you just try and get the club inside, you still have that open club face, your ball's going to go even further right, okay? You're going to get that push slice where it then curves further to the right. So we have to be able to tackle this the right way. Another thing you'll see people do is they'll aim way left with their feet, like this, to try and counteract it. So if I aim over there, my ball will end up in the fairway. But a lot of the time that makes the slice worse because your club path then gets further left of target. Okay, you're creating an even bigger slice. And if that club face is very open to that, then it's just going to go further and further right. So there's a lot of things we need to change, but we're going to start with fundamentals. So the first thing we're looking for is the grip. Now, lots of slicers, lots of people who grip the golf club will grip it in the palm of their hands like this. And a lot of slicers will see very weak on the trail hand. Now this grip just makes me want to open that club face because it's really the only way my wrists can rotate, okay? And they're going to want to rotate because our wrists naturally sit like this. They naturally sit inward whenever we stand with our arms by our side. So that is how we should grip the club. And that also gives us opposite forces. Opposite forces is what we need to control that club face. Now you can have opposite forces with a grip like this, you just have to really make sure that you're holding hard and rotating to the inside with that right wrist, or the left wrist for the left-handed golfer, to keep that club face square. But it is very difficult, and because we're in the palms, we're going to see a lot of this. We can't really set the wrists properly. So the arms become very dominant in the swing, the wrists and the hands. Everything comes down to the timing of the wrists and the hands, and we can eliminate that with the grip. So let's get into that. So what we want to see with the grip is that people are able to hold it in the fingers, okay? So we got quite a strong grip with our lead hand, and quite a weak grip with our trail hand. That is what's going to give us that control of the club face, because when I try and rotate my wrists, there's not much I can do with it. I can open it and close it, but there's not much. It doesn't get way open, it doesn't get way closed. So I'm really controlling that club face just with the grip. And how we do it is we start with our fingers, like this. So we have the club working diagonally across the fingers there, from the base of the pinky to the tip of the index finger on your glove hand or your lead hand. From there, then we wrap over, and we can see all the knuckles, and we can see that the V shape here is pointing up towards the right shoulder or slightly right of it. Then when it comes to the trail hand, we want to use the middle of our fingers and place that on the back of the grip and then wrap over. And what you'll see is that this area, this padded area of my thumb, will sit perfectly on this area, covering the thumb and the index finger of this hand, okay? That is what we want to see. Now I've got opposite forces, and the V shape here points kind of just up towards the left ear. So it's a weaker position, but it's opposite forces. So that's the first thing we got to do, is get that grip dialed in. Okay, so now that we got the grip sorted, we need to think about the setup. Setup will include our posture, our balance in the posture, where the weight is distributed in the feet, the width of the stance, and also our alignment. We can absolutely get all of that right with one simple drill, which is the setup drill. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand with our feet together, and if I drew a line back from that golf ball, it should hit that middle gap of my feet. Now I'm drawing it from the back of the ball because that is where we hit. So that's our true ball position. We don't hit the front of the ball, we don't hit the middle of the ball. We hit the back of it. So that's our true ball position. Keeping the feet together is going to really help with our feet alignment as well. And we've got to make sure in this position that the club is aligned to the target so that we can get the parallel train track like alignment with the club face and the feet. So from here, we're going to take a very small step with the left foot, and then we're going to take a bigger step with the right foot. So you can see that my feet are actually more than shoulder width apart. Okay. Once we do that, then we're going to soften the knees, and we're going to make sure that we're tilted at the spine. And what you can do as well is actually start in this position with your legs straight, your back straight, and the arms out like this, connected at the armpits. We just bend from the hip. That'll get us into a really nice upper body posture, spine angle. Then we take those 2 steps. Then we soften the knees, and then make sure that the pressure is on the balls of the feet. In this position, you're aligned perfectly, you're set up in balance, you've got the pressure on the balls of your feet, which is the correct place for us to create power and create good consistency and good rotation in the swing. And the legs aren't too bent, they're just slightly flexed so that we can use the lower body. And the spine is in a great angle to help us keep that posture throughout the swing. So with those 2 things, we have pretty much just nailed our setup and our fundamentals. We've nailed the grip, and with that one setup drill, we've nailed alignment, posture, balance, pressure, ball position with the swing. So we're ready to start working on the swing. So we're going to go through the takeaway first. It's a very, very important part of the golf swing. What we want to see with the takeaway is that we can take it back almost like it's just a putting stroke. So if you were to putt with your wrists and do this and have your hands move away and go like this and the club inside or the club outside, you wouldn't be a very good putter. What you would do is you would use your shoulders and your lats to take that club back into a position until it just gets to your right leg with the driver. That's our takeaway. That's as much as I want you to do with takeaway. We see people taking it up here. This is as far as we need to go. We go up here, we start to disconnect this right arm. We see a lot of people doing this, where they lose the right arm, they lose the connection, the right elbow flares out like this, and they're just in trouble because then they have to manipulate in the swing to get rid of that slice. So with the takeaway, we're just going to here, okay? Almost like I'm just taking it straight back, but it isn't going straight back because the club swings in an arc. It is coming slightly inside the golf ball, as you can see there. But this is where we want it. And the feeling there is to really keep the armpits pinched. So if I almost tuck my shirt in my armpits, I just keep that there and I use my shoulders. I'm not letting the wrist set start now. I'm not pulling it away with the hands or the arms at all. I'm using my shoulders just like this, almost like you're kind of rocking a baby. If you're trying to get it to sleep, it's crying, it's annoying you. You just gotta rock the shoulders like this. That's your feel. So we rock it back into the takeaway. Now from this position, we are gonna work on the wrist set. The wrist set is very important. I see a lot of people not engaging the wrists at this point, and what they do is they'll then lift the arms, whether it goes this way, whether it goes this way, and again, we lose that connection with the right armpit, and the elbow starts flying, and then we have to do some sort of manipulation, and if we don't, we're coming over, and we're getting that slice. So it's really important that with the wrist set that we're setting with our wrists, okay? Just like this. What you can do is you can actually stand in your setup and just try and lift the club up with your wrists like that, and try and hammer it on the ground, just using your wrists only, not using your arms, just using your wrists. Almost like you've got a hammer, you're trying to hammer. You would use your wrists. So it's here, and we use the wrists. But also what you can see here is that I get that right arm tucked right in. It's connected still. I've almost got the elbow right on my rib cage there. It's really connected. I've got a really great position here. Then from here, we are going to start to turn the hip and extend to the top of the backswing, but here we are using the body. We're not letting the arms go, because if we let the arms go, we're going to lose the connection again. So we're really trying to feel that the hips turning and the upper body is turning and extending upwards. You can see it's almost like I'm looking up behind me. There's a nice house over there. It's nice to look at, okay? The chest is extending upwards. That's how I'm getting into that top of backswing position. So I've set, I rotate and extend, and I've still got that connection here with the right arm. It's not out, it's not flaring out. I've still got the armpit pinched. Really, really important position to be able to then start the transition. You see, look, I've just done a transition and that club started to shallow naturally. So let's piece this backswing together. So we're going to break it down into 3 parts. So we've got 1, which is our takeaway, we've got 2, which is our wrist set, and then 3 is hip rotation, body rotation, and extending up. Okay, what I recommend is just getting your club here and practicing that. That's the feel. Once you have the feel, get into your wrist set position and extend up. Then you're in the top of backswing, then you're ready to start working on the downswing, and that is where all the magic is going to happen. But we've already put the club in a position that's going to be really easy to shallow naturally, and it's going to be really easy to swing consistently. And the most important part of this is that we're using our entire body. We're using our bigger muscles, we're using our upper body and our legs to help us with the swing. It's not arm dominant. We've got to get rid of the arms in the golf swing because it's inconsistent. Now, there are players on tour that can do that, but they're highly skilled and they've practiced it a lot. So they're anomalies, and we are not anomalies. We don't have the time to put the effort in. We don't have the time to practice as much as they do. So let's build a swing that's repeatable and actually quite simple to do. There is just going to be a period of working on your swing, which is going to be tough. But here, anything good in life, we got to work for it. So let's get to the top of the backswing. So now we're here. Now what has to happen here is we have to initiate the transition with the lower body. So you're going to see that my hips, they start to sit. I almost try and squat down, but I'm also rotating my hips kind of back to where they were at setup. That's my first move. And the important thing here is that I'm really trying to keep my upper body back here where it was at the top. It is going to come with me, but it's not going to be initiating the downswing. The legs, the hips are rotating backwards, they're squatting down, and I'm getting into that natural shallow if I can keep my upper body back. Look at that, it's just perfect position. From here then, we can then just snap and release. It's so much easier. But let's talk about more into the downswing, what you need to feel. So with the driver, once we get that set, we're going to keep our head behind the ball here. Then we're going to start to let our hips rotate towards the target. Now the upper body is going to start to come. It's going to bring the arms with it. The club's shallowed. It's working nicely on the inside. And from here, your feel is to make sure you're trying to keep your head backwards as you approach that golf ball. And that's going to help you hit up on it. And once you've come into it, your almost good feel is to try and hit the bottom of the ball. Try and launch up into the sky. And once you do that, keep the head back. Then you're going to be able to release that club. It's going to help us close that face over. And that's really going to help us stop that ball going out to the right. But we're coming more on the inside. We're hitting up on it, and we're releasing the golf ball, and then our pressure is all the way through into a nice balanced finished position. So that's the swing. Now let me show you some drills that are going to really help with that transition and the other feels in the backswing. Okay guys, so this is a great drill that you can do for getting the takeaway right and that wrist set. So what you're going to do is hold the club down the bottom near the club head on the shaft, come into your setup, but make sure that the club shaft is resting on your lead hip. So now as we do this and we take the club back, we want to keep the club shaft on our left hip, our lead hip. We want to keep it there. If the hands have started to get active, the club will come off, or if I go this way and out, the club will come off. So I want to keep it there until I get the hands just to the right leg, or the back leg. Then from there with the wrist set, what we want to see is that we can almost set the club by running that shaft down to the knee. That gets you that wrist set feel. Okay, and if you combine that with a little bit of hip turn, then you're going to start to get the club in a great position here. And then you can rotate and extend to the top of your backswing, keeping that arm connection. That is just a great way to practice it. So it's 1, 2. Let's do it a bit slower. So a great way to feel that transition and that separation in the downswing is to hold your club out like this, get your feet a little more than shoulder width apart. And what you're going to try and do is keep your upper body where it is while you try and rotate your hips. If you can do this, then you can definitely transition the club and get that separation, rotating them this way. You can rotate them that way as well. But really we're trying to go this way, so we're trying to feel that separation. It's a great drill to feel separation and a great way to get that transition started. And you can even add in a little bit of a squat and a turn. That'll help you get that feel, keeping the chest where it is, keeping the arms where they are. Don't let that club move, just have the lower body separate from the upper. Once you do that, then you can go into top of backswing position with the club here. And really just try and keep the club here as you can see it and really get that lower body going. It's quite hard to do, but it only has to separate a little bit, okay? We don't need to be crazy with this. If we can just initiate with a little bit of separation, then everything can be timed correctly in that downswing. All right guys, so let's recap this whole thing. First thing we got to do is our fundamentals. We've got to get the grip right. We need that opposite forces. We need it in the fingers so we can control that club face. Then we're going to go through into the setup drill to get our alignment, our ball position, pressure in the feet and the correct posture so that we can stay in posture throughout the swing and have our lower body and our upper body work correctly in the swing. Once we do that, then we've got to be working on takeaway. We got to be working then on wrist set, extension to the top, Really working on that separation and then really just trying to hit up on that golf ball and release it through. A good drill for feeling that release is you can just hold the club up like this and swing it almost like you're swinging a baseball bat. Just swing it back a little bit and then come through and you can feel that release. Most of you slicers will not have this release. You'll be going that way, keeping that club open. There's an exaggerated feel to closing that club face, as you can see. Once you put all that together, start hitting drives and start to see a huge difference in your consistency. Thanks for watching. Now I'm going to do some driver practice. Cheers. Oh yeah, baby.